Y'all have sent over more theories that will make us question life, reality, just everything in general. Shout out to all you guys who have sent over videos. I'll be shouting you guys out throughout the video. I do want to say, if you have videos that you would like to send over, if you're new, if you're a returning subscriber, whatever the case is, and you're like, I want my video on here, add the Discord. The link is the first thing that you'll see in the description. Add it, read the rules, and then send over your conspiracy theories onto our Discord conspiracy theory thread. I'm not here to say that these are true or false, but we're just gonna go ahead and react to these theories that you guys have sent over and see which one was catchy. Let me know in the comment section down below which theory that popped up on here was your favorite. First shout out of the day goes out to Mr. Retro.
Fire is the element of power. The people of the Fire Nation have desire and will, and the energy and drive to achieve what they want. Earth is the element of substance. The people of the Earth Kingdom are diverse and strong. They are persistent and enduring. Air is the element of freedom. The air nomads detached themselves from worldly concerns and found peace and freedom. Also, they apparently had pretty good senses of humor. Water is the element of change. The people of the water tribe are capable of adapting to many things.
Wow.
It is important to draw wisdom from many different places. If we take it from only one place, it becomes rigid and stale. Understanding others, the other elements, and the other nations will help you become whole.
What I don't agree with, are the, what are they, horoscopes? Aquarius, Aries, no. I don't believe in that. But if you can skip past them putting that here, listen to what he said for each element. Disregard the signs. Oh, I don't believe in, oh, you're born this month, so you have the, no. But I do believe in the 4 elements when it comes to the world. You guys can't see everything, but it says Nick Cannon on sleeping from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. daily.
I have never been healthier, stronger, or more focused than I am right now because of this process. Because when I'm up at 2, and
what do you do from 2 to 6?
I'm meditating, I'm praying, I get my workout in, I'm driving. When I leave my house, it's like I got the planet to myself. And it's like, there's so much clarity as a person, as you know, who's always bombarded with other people's frequencies and energy. That time from 2 to 6 allows me to be creative. I can do stuff in the studio. I can prepare for the show later on. I mean, again, I know I'm a little crazy, so I wouldn't encourage anybody else to do it. But the fact that I get from 8 to 2, a solid 6 hours of sleep uninterrupted, and then from the rest of the day, I can function and I'm up doing things before anyone else. I was like, I wish I would have discovered this 20, 30 years ago.
That actually makes sense because you don't get any interruptions. No one else is awake.
No one else is awake.
3 in the
I got
morning.
the world to myself from 2 to 6.
Wake up, sheeple. They're everywhere.
What am I looking at? What the heck?
The truth in plain sight yell is named in movies and TV.
So they have the Ark of the Covenant in The Simpsons. And he shed it because it had Yahuwah's name on that paper. This is crazy. That's you. Come on. That's Yahuwah in Hebrew, if you guys don't know.
Take back one kadam to honor the Hebrew God who to honor the Hebrew God who to honor the Hebrew God who
To the people of the future. What is this?
That was written by an ancient civilization. It's an edict for all of humanity.
Hear us, wise ones. This is a message from the past. Once this planet was home to many different civilizations, yet in time, all came to ruin. Our limits as a species, war between civilizations, corruption, devastation. We wish that you should have a future. As our legacy, we leave fragments of our civilization scattered throughout the world. However, if you do not possess the strength to inherit that legacy, we ask that you seal it away.
We ask that you guard it against those who would use it for
Show
evil.
more.
You must not go down the same path as us. They found this tablet way down at the bottom of the ocean, by accident. It doesn't respond to any methods of era dating, and you can try anything to destroy it, but you won't even leave a scratch on it. If the tech that was used to create it got out, well, you can just imagine what could happen.
Does the Shrine of Fire have the same power?
Not a clue. Either way, it's now our mission to keep the others from using it for their own selfish ends.
So you just...
Yep, that's our job when you sum it up. Protect the ancient
I didn't even see that. I'm going to check that series out. I'm telling you, they just throw this stuff in your face just to say it's a cartoon. They put it in cartoon, doesn't mean nothing, doesn't have no significance, when in reality, they're telling you something. So really, you can't say that you don't know when they're throwing this stuff in your face. But then they'll lie to you and be like, oh, it's just a joke. I gotta watch that. I know my mom watching, so mom, we gotta watch that show. Shout out to DeAndre.
These ninjas have come up with a technology, I think they call it RNA resistant crop, not GMO no more. GMO, it don't grow again. You feel me? You grow one time, it decimates the soil, it's dead. GMO was cancer for the soil. This RNA resistant crop, you are able to engineer the seed to search and destroy a certain type of genetic composition. They can make a seed that will target black people, so when you ingest the fruit and vegetable, it automatically goes to attack on your immune system.
Damn.
Imagine putting the AIDS virus in your food. So now your fruits and vegetables become the thing that's killing you.
Yeah.
Shout out to Orlandis.
English is a stupid language.
Yes, it
because
is.
if we examine the paradoxes, we find that there's no egg in eggplant, no ham in hamburger, there's no pine or apple in pineapple. English muffins were not invented in England. French fries were not invented in France. Quicksand takes you down slowly. Boxing rings are square. Park on driveways and drive on parkways. A house is burning up as it burns down, and you fill out a form by filling it in.
Hear what this, I know it is funny, I know it's a joke, but no, hear it, because I really think that English is stupid. Repeat that one more time.
English is a stupid language, because if we examine the paradoxes, we find that there's no egg in eggplant, no ham in hamburger, there's no pine or apple in pineapple. English muffins were not invented in England. French fries were not invented in France. Quicksand takes you down slowly. Boxing rings are square. Park on driveways and drive on parkways. A house is burning up as it burns down, and you fill out a form by filling it in.
This right here is the realest video I've seen. Shout out to Aristotle.
What conspiracy theories turned out to be true, but most people still don't know about them? The government has been suppressing technologies in order to keep industries alive. Water-powered cars, the Tesla energy device, batteries that work too well, stem cell therapy, etc. The light bulb conspiracy. A bunch of light bulb manufacturers got together and agreed to light bulb lifespans and costs for a few decades, holding technology back. Light bulbs are supposed to outlast the people who buy them by now. Planned obsolescence.
Wow.
Manufacturers actually design their products to fail so we become repeat consumers. I believe it started with light bulbs. In the 1920s the light bulb competitors met and agreed to stop making the bulbs last long. There is currently a light bulb that has been on since 1901, obviously a bulb before the plan was set in place. The Great Streetcar Conspiracy, the fact that the USA had one of the most advanced and developed public transit systems in the world in the 1950s, and it was deliberately curtailed, stopped, and dismantled in concert between the government, GM, Ford, and other car companies, leading to the promotion and expansion of the inefficient with wasteful suburban sprawls that dominate America today, all for the principal purpose of selling more cars. In the U.S., tax companies like
Money.
H&R Block and TurboTax lobbied the government to intentionally keep taxes absurdly difficult to file so that you'd be more likely to pay for their services. The IRS has all the information needed to basically just send you a bill to review once a year. But they instead ensure that citizens have to fill out needlessly complicated and extensive forms confirming what the government already knows just so tax companies can receive an obscene amount of money annually. It was a common conspiracy that the Democratic People's Republic of Korea was people and kids from other countries and raising them to be or teach spies foreign language and culture so that they could move out as spies undetected since they would look or sound too foreign to be North Korean. Megumi Okota is a very popular example and common knowledge to many people on the streets of Japan. She was kidnapped on her way home from school. Eyewitnesses say that they saw a vessel speeding out into the Sea of Japan in the direction of North Korea. It is allegedly known that she is alive and married living in Pyongyang. Her family to this day only wish for her safety, happiness and possible return/escape to Japan someday. That the reason why MSG, monosodium glutamate, got a bad rap is because of the West looking at Asian cuisine as dangerous or dirty and made correlation between headaches, palpitations, etc. and MSG without concrete scientific data to back it up. In reality, MSG doesn't have negative health effects and all it ever did was enhance the umami flavor.
Prompted me to do this study. First, countries didn't have enough money to pay their debts, even after lowering interest rates to zero, so their central banks began printing lots of money to do so. Second, big internal conflicts emerged due to growing gaps in wealth and values. This showed up in political populism and polarization between the left, who want to redistribute wealth, and the right, who want to defend those holding the wealth. And third, increasing external conflict between a rising great power and the leading great power, as is now happening with China and the United States. So I looked back. I saw that all these had happened together before, many times, and nearly always led to changing domestic and world orders. The last time this sequence happened was from 1930 to 1945.
Okay.
What exactly is an order, you might ask? It's a governing system for people dealing with each other. There are internal orders for governing within countries, typically laid out in constitutions. And there is a world order for governing between countries, typically laid out in treaties. Internal orders change at different times than world orders, though whether within or between countries, these orders typically change after wars. Civil wars within countries, international wars between countries. They happen when revolutionary new forces defeat weak old orders. For example, the U.S. internal order was laid out in the Constitution in 1789 after the American Revolution, and it is still operating today, even after the American Civil War. Russia got rid of its old order and established a new one with the Russian Revolution in 1917, which ended in 1991 with a relatively bloodless revolution. China began its current internal order in 1949 when the Chinese Communist Party won the Civil War. You get the idea.
Well, I was not so invested. First of all, why school didn't teach me like that? Shout out Retro.
The Teletubbies conspiracy theory claims that the show was inspired by events in a Bulgarian mental facility called La La Land.
Don't say that.
Psychotic children were purportedly isolated in dark rooms, and apparently 4 children who died on the same day inspired the characters in Teletubbies. Lala's facial disfigurement and 5 years of isolation inspired Lala. Tuatei, a deaf, facially deformed child, was tied to the fence outdoors and frostbitten, inspiring Tinky Winky. Donka, starving and unwell, inspired Dipsy by lying in his vomit for days.
What?
Ultimately, Paulina fell into a fire and was roasted alive, inspiring Poe. So why are they called the Teletubbies? The children's main source of comfort were the television sets in their room. And when they got word that the mental institution was getting rid of them, the children concocted a plan to hide the TVs. The children would rip out their insides to hide the miniature TV sets that were too big to swallow, only to be found dead by the returning caregivers the next morning.
I strongly believe that some people in this world are NPCs.
I'm scared. She just freeze.
The Titanic was a hit job. It was no accident or mistake that the Titanic sank in 1912. You think all the richest people in the world on the world's safest boat dying in a single boating crash was an accident? There's not a chance. Basically, all of the world's elites at the time had already purchased tickets and were scheduled to take this cruise together. You're talking about the Rothschilds, the JP Morgans, and Mr. Astor, who was the richest American at that time. He owned nearly 40% of every mortgage in America at that time. The story goes that the Rothschilds wanted to create a central bank, but Mr. Astor and many of his extremely rich friends, who basically controlled the country and all of its politicians, opposed the central banking system, and they would never allow a central bank in America. So when all the world's richest people boarded the ship right before the boat took off, the Rothschilds and JP Morgans all exited the ship just minutes before takeoff. So now all of the richest people who opposed the central banking system ended up dying from an iceberg. And now that all of the rich people who opposed it are dead and no longer paying or bribing all of their politicians ended up working for the Rothschilds and JP Morgans instead, who were still alive and able to bribe them without any opposition now. The very next year, in 1913, they started the Federal Reserve Bank with almost zero opposition. Crazy conspiracy theory or TikTok fact? Let me know your own thoughts in the comments.
The elite have to tell you things. They have to leave messages. The reason they have to do this is how they believe they get past karma. By telling you what they're gonna do, they release their karma. Now that you understand why they're telling you, start paying attention to everything all around. They're telling people what's coming. Now, not many people understand how to read things like this. That's why it's coded.
So look at this.
All these my store.
You're on a business trip. You're staying in Greenwich. And you want to buy some food. So you go into the local Aldi's, like this one, and you think, I'm going to go in here and buy some food so that I can feed myself. And then you approach the barrier, and look, you can't even get in the shop without having a QR code to scan here, or to scan here, and then you can go in and buy things. Now this looks to me like the beginning stages of the digital prison that we keep talking about. What do you think?
What's the point of the QR code though? Like, what does that do for you? What benefits does a store have if customers have that QR code?
And you're not thinking right now. You're following orders. You're not thinking for yourself. You're not in touch with your soul. Because if you were, you would take that off and you would breathe freely, which is the #1 form of nutrition. And if you don't have proper oxygen, you can't have cognitive function. And if you can't think right, you're easily pushed around and controlled and manipulated.
You've probably heard the conspiracy theory that the Kardashians curse all the men in their lives and ruin them while they thrive.
Every male figure that comes and dates the Kardashian, their life kind of just goes downhill after that.
This crazy conspiracy theory says that a woman who's an ancestor of the Kardashians sacrificed her soul to 4 witches in Armenia in order for the women in her bloodline to always have fame, money, and beauty, but in exchange, the lives of all the men close to them will suffer. Examples of this include Rob Kardashian from being happy and offered modeling gigs to developing severe depression and never leaving his house. Scott Disick, who went from being a preppy successful businessman to developing severe alcoholism and depression in front of the whole world. Lamar Odom, who was at the top of his basketball game, then experienced severe addiction, overdose, died, and then was brought back to life. Reggie Bush, who went from winning Heisman trophies to shortly after dating Kim having to retire because he got injured and then started playing way worse, and had to give his Heisman trophy back because of a scandal he was in. Travis Scott having a #1 album in 2018, then becoming the most hated, disgraced artist of all time and not releasing an album since. Caitlyn Jenner, who ruined her relationship with Kris, Kim, Kourtney, and Khloe, and then got ostracized by her own community. Kanye going on his first 5150 psychiatric hold, being locked in a mental hospital, his 2020 presidential run, and him literally saying he was in the sunken place when he was with Kim. Pete Davidson now being in trauma therapy after the negative media attention for being with Kim. Some could even say Robert Kardashian himself for the infamy of OJ and what happened to him shortly after. Before I share what the Kardashians have to say about this, make sure you follow so you finally know the craziest conspiracy theories about all these celebrities and requests who you want to see next.
I don't like about this narrative is that the blame is on us. Men need to take that responsibility. It's like almost like offensive.
They're blaming women for men's problems because Kanye is doing pretty well.
Why that theory makes sense though? What the heck? Because think about it, every man that they've touched, talked to, was in the same circle as, their life has spiraled. I'm not gonna lie to you, that theory then did something. That's probably one of my favorites for today's reaction video because it makes sense. Theories on TikTok that you guys have sent over Discord edition, I really do appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart. Shout out to all you guys, seriously, like, you guys truly mean a lot. You guys truly mean a lot. Eternal honors to my Lord Yahuwah, my Adonai Yahushua Mashiach, for blessing me with everything. I'm just a vessel out there working in and through, so gotta give credit and honor where it's due. That's it for today's video, y'all. I love y'all. Y'all have a blessed one. I'll see y'all in the next one. Shalom, shalom.
You can't bring me down. I know who I belong to. Yeah. What? I won't sell my soul. I know my worth.